one thing, but we want fairness, better health care, better residuals. I literally get 1 cent residuals.
You didn't know what he was gonna do. And the network has a lot to do with that as well. They take care of the star, then everybody else is a piece of shit. That's just how it goes down. And you embrace being a piece of shit.
Remember when I said earlier, I've never seen so many cowards and black men in this business? I would have to put my brother Tyler Perry in that. When you don't do what we ask you to do, we'll take your livelihood. So for 8 years, my family has suffered and my career has suffered because what I would not allow those entities to do was bully me.
I'm telling you don't do this. I don't care what other kids do. Your mother and I love you. We taught you better than this. You can't behave this way.
Oh boy, do I have a juicy one for you today, and it involved none other than brother Tyler Perry. It seems like Tyler cannot keep his name out of the headlines, no matter how often he pleads his case and how much money he throws at people. As we all know, he's recently undergone some heavy fire from the Queen Monique herself for blackballing her in the industry. Then people like Katt Williams and 50 Cent came along to back Monique's claims. Hell, even Golden Globe winner Taraji Pee Henson finally came forward to expose his shady dealings. But that's all old news, right? Well, today, we have someone who hasn't made an appearance lately. And I'm telling you, she went all out to expose Hollywood and its beloved duo, Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey. And she went in on how black actresses like herself have been exploited, underpaid, and mistreated for years. Buckle up, because Tichina Arnold is cooking, and we're here for it. For those of you who have been living under a rock and don't know the legendary Tichina Arnolds, let me give you her backstory. This award-winning actress and singer has been rocking our screens for years. She first stole our hearts in 1992, cracking us up alongside Martin Lawrence in the sitcom Martin. And guess what? Her role as Pam snagged her an NAACP Image Award in '96 for supporting actress. But that's not all. She brought the laughs as Rochelle in Everybody Hates Chris, the hilarious Chris Rock creation. Now, when it comes to the big screen, Arnold's no stranger to blockbuster hits. Remember the 1986 sensation Little Shop of Horrors? Yep, she was in that. Plus, she teamed up with Martin Lawrence again in Big Mama's House and shared the screen with Natalie Portman in Brothers. She's also a huge advocate for various causes and has even started a foundation for those suffering from lupus. Along with that, she has also been actively speaking up about the discrimination that black artists have to go through. For instance, horrible working conditions on set and unequal pay. Now, you'd think that a person like her would have it easy in the industry, right? I mean, many would assume that she's been in the field for decades, so she would have a smooth sailing. But that is definitely not the case. In fact, the longer that she's staying in the realm of Hollywood, the more disturbing it is getting for her. And you know who's making her life and the lives of so many others a disaster? None other than Tyler Perry. And rumor has it, Tyler Perry is not happy about Tichina going around telling the world what he has been up to in terms of allegedly exploiting black actresses. But, Arnold isn't just making all this stuff up. So check this out. Word on the street is that Tyler Perry is using his power to undermine and exploit up-and-coming actors and actresses, especially within the black community. And believe it or not, quite a few black actors have come forward and are opening up about their experiences working with Perry, and they are not pleasant stories. Now, there's no denying Perry's made quite a splash in the Atlanta theater scene and scored big at the box office with the Medea series. But you know how it goes. No success story is complete without a little drama. There's been talk that Perry's ego got a bit out of control, even clashing with heavyweights. In Hollywood, everyone's trying to make it, and sometimes you've got to pull a few tricks. Seems like Tyler Perry might be playing that game too. And when all this backlash started to come in, Perry thought it would be best if he tried to position himself as the pioneer instead of the one creating all the chaos.
When I'm hearing all this noise, man, it was crazy because there were no black people on television. Before diversity became a thing, Tyler Perry was the only one out there for a long time.
But that still doesn't hide the fact that he's known to be one of the most difficult people to work with. After his big screen success, Tyler Perry made his move to television with the hit sitcom House of Pain. However, when negotiations for a sweet syndication deal and a spin-off called Meet the Browns were underway, things got a bit messy. Perry reportedly let go of 4 writers who were pushing for union contracts, stirring up some drama in the industry. According to Deadline, one of the writers, Terry Jackson, said, "We were good enough to create over 100 episodes, but now When it comes to reaping the benefits of the show being syndicated and having other spin-offs from it, he decided to let us go unless we accept a horrible offer. Perry's response to the writers' room dispute? He took charge, announcing that he now personally writes everything. But Perry's clashes with unions didn't stop there. In 2015, both the actor unions SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity took a stand, prohibiting their members from getting involved in Perry's stage play Madea on the Run because his production company refused to sign union contracts. While Perry might be all about maximizing profits, not everyone in the industry is giving him a standing ovation for his methods, because they are most definitely dirty. After the triumph of House of Pain and Meet the Browns, cultural critic Jamila Lamu, an African-American journalist, decided to address Tyler Perry directly in an open letter published by NPR. Lamu didn't hold back, expressing her unease with Perry's reliance on stereotypes in his work. She pointed out, through her, the country has laughed at one of the most important members of the Black community, Mother Dear, the beloved matriarch. I just can't quite get with seeing Mother Dear played by a 6'3" man with prosthetic breasts flopping in the wind. Our mothers and grandmothers deserve much more than that hack. Our fathers and grandfathers deserve more. Lamu acknowledged Perry's defiance against the Hollywood establishment, but highlighted that many Black individuals shared concerns about his work that went beyond racial lines. Many actors from Meet the Browns also called out Perry for treating them horribly. Brandon J. went viral for how Perry would change drafts of scripts, make them learn their lines in hours, and change the characters without briefing them first.
Mr. Perry on the spot starts rewriting the entire script, and he's feeding me the lines to say, and the director is kind of standing on the side like, you better do it, because if not, they will fire you. Here is where the shoe hit the fan. So in the middle of Mr. Perry changing up the scenes, he says, I want Jeffrey to be gay, and he has a crush on his bully. That's not what I auditioned for. After Mr. Perry says, we're gonna change the character and make him gay, I immediately get on the phone with my mom, because I'm like, is this customary? Can they just change a character like this? And she didn't really know the answer to that, so she got on the phone with my agent. My agent was like, absolutely not. If Brandon doesn't feel comfortable with playing this character, then he can walk from this.
As it turns out, Brandon idolizes Tyler Perry, so after some negotiation and back and forth, Brandon decides to give in and accustom to this new role. All good, right? No. Brandon then reveals that an hour before shooting, the assistant director approached him and handed him a new script with pages of new lines that he had to learn and memorize within an hour before shooting, or else he would be booted off the show, which I think we can all agree is the furthest from reasonable. And Brandon isn't the only one calling him out. Renowned film director Spike Lee was also one of the critics, openly challenging Perry on his use of stereotypical characters. Lee didn't mince words. He suggested that, despite breaking records, the industry could aim higher by avoiding biased and nonsensical movies featuring one-dimensional characters.
But I still think there a lot of stuff that's on today is coonery and buffoonery. And I know it's making a lot of money, breaking records, but we could do better.
We're talking about Tyler Perry at this point.
In Lee's view, the focus should shift towards creating better content rather than celebrating mere record breaking. Lee said, emphasizing the need for improvement in the portrayal of characters in the industry. And this isn't something that only the film critics are saying. Even the masses don't like the kind of stuff that Tyler is making these days. Let's dive a bit deeper into the buzz around Tyler Perry's movies on social media. So, you've got this ongoing debate. On one side, there are folks throwing shade at Perry, saying he's kind of overdoing it by repeatedly showcasing the trauma Black women go through in his films, especially when the women are actually men wearing dresses. It's like, can we get a break from the woke heavy stuff? But then, you've got the defenders who argue that he's just shedding light on real-life struggles that many Black women can relate to. It's a back and forth that keeps the internet buzzing. With time, everyone's catching a whiff of what's going on, because Katt Williams isn't keeping quiet either.
We're not going to be nobody's favorite, and we're going to miss out on a lot of the things that they're going to get over there because we're not like them, and we don't do what they do. We're not willing to do the things they're willing to do.
In classic Katt Williams style, he's not mincing words. He's pointing fingers and making it known that Perry's methods aren't sitting right with him. It's like he's shining a spotlight on the whole going through hell situation that Black artists allegedly face under Perry's direction.
We put too much pressure on Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? He ain't put nobody on. Be what you gonna be, but put your people on.
Whether it's the roles, the working conditions, or who knows what else, Katt Williams is saying, enough is enough.
At the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I've never seen Madea in a pantsuit.
Now, let's talk about the broader industry scene. For black actors especially, the struggle is real when it comes to landing roles. It's like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, feeling the pressure to take on stereotypical characters just to keep the paychecks coming in and their careers afloat. It's a tough game, and here's where it gets interesting. There's a group of black actors who've decided to pump the brakes on working with Tyler Perry. Why, you ask? Well, they're pointing fingers at what they see as racial bias in Perry's creative choices and decisions. It's like they're saying, hold up, let's reevaluate some of these storytelling choices, man. This whole discussion shines a spotlight on the ongoing struggle for better representation and more authentic storytelling in the entertainment industry. Reddit users have also had enough of his BS. One person wrote, I think Tyler Perry is an embarrassment and totally exploits black stereotypes. Tyler Perry makes movies that thrive on black stereotypes, including Substance, Absent Fathers, Ebonix, Absurd Ignorance, etc. I think if anyone else in Hollywood was to make his type of movies, he would have an issue with it. Black people have an issue with Tarantino writing the N-word into his scripts for whatever reason, but no one minds that Perry is making these types of films. They added, when I've seen any of his movies, I couldn't help but feel like every racist in the world could watch them and just laugh at the fact that black people even enjoy this exploitation. And more people chimed in with one saying, I think the most awful part of Tyler Perry is the fact that he doesn't help the other black directors become recognized. It's all about his brand. That makes me sad. Seems very exploitative. Tarantino at least goes and finds great filmmakers and executive produces their works for the US market. Now, let's talk about how this colorism issue plays out on the big screen, with Tyler Perry being a major example in the spotlight. It's not something swept under the rug anymore. You can see it right there in his movies. One glaring trend is the consistent portrayal of black actors as villains in his stories. Take, for instance, Steve Harris in Tyler's classic Diary of a Mad Black Woman. He plays Charles McCarter, a successful lawyer who falls far from the ideal husband mark. The plot takes a shocking turn when Charles reveals the existence of another woman in his life to his wife Helen, treating her rudely and eventually kicking her out of their home. It's a narrative that paints a not-so-pleasant picture of a black character.
You ain't good for nothing. Find my bank statement and get the accountant on the phone. Then call Calvin and tell him to get over here and you can leave.
Another example is Blair Underwood, who portrayed Carlos in one of Perry's films. Carlos is depicted as a controlling investment banker, exercising dominance and control over his girlfriend in the storyline. Blair Underwood, a Hollywood figure for over 4 decades, known for his role in LA Law, has witnessed the different phases as a black actor in the industry. Reflecting on his early career, Underwood shared insights into the challenges faced during the 1980s, where the representation of black faces on screen was rare, and the roles available were often limited and stereotypical, offering little variety for black TV viewers. Back in the day, Blair Underwood and Denzel Washington were like the go-to guys for black male representation in TV and movies. They were hustling and facing some serious challenges, but guess what? They overcame it all and got heaps of praise for their work. It was a big deal. Blair Underwood took a trip down memory lane and shared some thoughts about those days. He pointed out the progress we've made in the industry, which is awesome. But let's not kid ourselves. It's been a tough road to get more diverse and authentic portrayals of black characters on the screen. Blair's basically saying, yeah, we've come far, but there's still work to do, folks. The conversation about representation in Hollywood isn't just sitting still. It's evolving. Figures like Blair Underwood, with their experience and insights, are adding some real depth to the whole journey. Even stars like Dave Chappelle have been calling him out.
A guy that generates money, people have a vested interest in control. Always happens around the time of their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Plus, Perry's also doing a pretty horrible job at portraying the black women. Over time, there's been a growing dissatisfaction among black people, especially women, with how they're portrayed on screen. Sure, representation matters, but equally important is how that representation unfolds. Tyler Perry, from his first film, Diary of a Mad Black Woman onward, has been painting a certain picture of black women, one that's been rubbing folks the wrong way.
I don't know if Tyler Perry doesn't like black women or doesn't give a damn about black women or thinks he knows black women, but these storylines that he's concocting that's supposed to be the story of black women are so idiotic. I cannot take it anymore.
Take I Can Do Bad All by Myself, for instance. The lead character, April, played by Taraji Pee Henson, is grappling with being a selfish alcoholic, stuck in a relationship with a married man. Things get even messier when her niece and nephews show up, needing a place to stay, and April initially refuses to step up. After her mother's death, she's left with no choice but to take care of the kids. Enter a new man fixing up April's house and crashing there. But here's where it gets intense. April's current boyfriend tries to assault her niece, and April retaliates by trying to electrocute him and kicking him out. It's only after this chaotic turn of events that April suddenly becomes nicer to the kids, heads back to church, and falls in love with Sandino. Classic Tyler Perry plot twist, right? April's character embodies the stereotypical portrayal of black women in Perry's works. Loud, mean, struggling, and stuck in an unhealthy relationship. She fits into the sapphire caricature, often known as the angry black woman stereotype, depicting black women as rude, loud, malicious, stubborn, and overbearing. It's like Tyler Perry has this pattern of putting his black female characters through the ringer before they can catch a break or experience happiness. And that's leaving a lot of people questioning the kind of narratives being spun about black women in his films. What's your take on this portrayal of black women in Tyler Perry's movies? And if you're still not convinced, let's talk about Medea Goes to Jail. Tyler Perry's portrayal of Candace in that movie, it's raising some eyebrows, to say the least. Candace is caught up in the Jezebel stereotype, a struggling addict who's also doing not the best look, right? So here's the deal. Candace lands in jail, and get this, her old college buddy, who was also her prosecutor, goes all out to get her out. Surprise, surprise. They end up as a couple by the end of it. Cue the uncomfortable vibes. But it's not just the story. It's how Perry presents Candace visually. In court, she's rocking an outfit that's far from appealing, complete with a matted wig. It's like Perry's playing into these negative stereotypes about the appearance and behavior of black women. And then there's his penchant for having male black actors don dresses and wigs for laughs. It's like his signature move, right? So, you've got these talented black artists, and what does Perry do? He's all about making them throw on women's clothes and wigs to get a few chuckles. I mean, Medea, anyone? It's become this recurring theme in his movies. And some folks are wondering, is this really the only way to get a laugh? And before Tichina, Monique decided to call him out on his stunts. Let's talk about Monique and how she fearlessly threw shade at Tyler Perry more than a decade ago. Back in 2009, she starred in the movie Precious as the lead character's mother, Mary Lee Johnston. Now, Monique bagged herself both a Golden Globe and an Academy Award for her stellar performance, but the real drama went down behind the scenes. So, here's the deal. Before awards season kicked off, Monique was invited to the Cannes Film Festival to promote Precious. But get this, she wasn't going to get paid for it, and that wasn't in her original contract. So, she said, no, thank you.
So then he goes on about his spiel, I said, well, listen, you can write me the check for me to go overseas. I don't care where the money comes from, but I'm not gonna do it for free. He says, well, I don't believe in giving money away for free. I said, I don't believe in working for free, so we're on the same page.
Now, what happened next is where it gets juicy. Monique claims that this move, declining to show up unpaid, got her blackballed from the industry by calling her difficult to work with. And guess who's allegedly behind it? Tyler Perry himself.
And we said we understood, because what people didn't know was I was paid $50,000 to do the movie Precious. And it really wasn't about the money, and I'm not complaining because I signed up to do it with my friend. So when the movie studio says we can't set a precedent and pay you to do this, we didn't have an issue with them.
Okay.
But that's when the reports came that now Monique is being demanding and she's being difficult.
Even after all these years, Monique is still standing firm, demanding justice for what she sees as unfair treatment. She later said that Lee Daniels has stepped up with a public apology for his role in her career downfall. But when it comes to Tyler Perry, not so much. In a 2022 chat with T.S. Madison, Monique spilled some more piping hot details. According to her, Tyler Perry had apparently agreed to bury the hatchet and own up to his part in the whole mess, promising to spill the beans to the media. But, and it's a big but, Monique says he backtracked on that promise, and Chris Rock is also not holding back when it comes to calling out Tyler Perry's famous trope of dressing black actors in drag. In an interview with Vibe, Rock expressed his disappointment, particularly hoping that Hollywood heavyweights like Denzel Washington and Will Smith wouldn't follow suit. Rock didn't mince his words, saying, Tyler Perry is great in a dress, But I don't want to see Denzel or Will Smith in a dress, and I don't think we're in any danger of seeing that. He went on to highlight a concern within the black community about limited representation in films, emphasizing that if a significant portion of those movies features black men in dresses, it could understandably upset people. The comedian was pointing directly at Perry's iconic Medea character, where the filmmaker often donned women's clothing to play the role. Perry himself had addressed criticisms regarding black actors being put in dresses, asserting that, in his case, it was a personal choice. Many other artists have come forward to put Tyler in his place. The infamous Taraji Pee Henson also cried in an interview while talking about the pay inequality in the industry by producers like Perry.
Are you thinking about it? I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. And if I can't fight for them coming up behind me, then what the am I doing? I'm sorry.
And it's honestly really shocking to see how the industry treats people who have been working for so long. You know, Taraji Pee Henson isn't holding back when it comes to the pay disparities in Hollywood. She's making it clear that it's not just her facing this issue. Many black actors are dealing with the same unequal pay struggle. It's like a systemic thing that needs a serious overhaul. And get this, even though Taraji hit the big leagues, her paychecks still weren't stacking up the way they should. It's wild, right? Fame doesn't always translate to fair compensation, but it's not just about the money. She opened up about the behind-the-scenes hustle, needing a whole team to handle her career and public appearances. It's like, with great success comes even greater expenses. What really hit hard was Taraji talking about the uphill battle she faces in the industry. She's out here trying to make a difference, but it's tough, and her struggles make it even harder for her to support the up-and-coming stars trying to break through. And when she broke down, many stood by her side, including Terrence Howard. So what do you think about Tyler Perry in Hollywood? Should he stay in the industry, or is it time to move on? Comment down below and let us know. If you like this video, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be the first to see my next video. I post updates like this every week where I uncover the secrets of your favorite celebrities.